Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to reveal to you a truth so simple yet so profound that it will transform every corner of your life if you dare to accept it. You have within you a power, a creative power more potent than anything in the world outside of you. This power is your imagination, and it is the very substance from which all things are born. You have been taught to look outward, to seek fulfillment in things, in people, in circumstances. But the secret is that the world you see is nothing more than a reflection of your inner consciousness. Change the state within, and the world without will change. Tonight I will show you exactly how to manifest anything you desire, using the principles of imagination and consciousness. Open your mind, quiet your doubts, and let us begin. The law of assumption. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to speak to you about the first and most fundamental principle of creation, the law of assumption. If you understand nothing else, understand this: everything that you experience in your life has been assumed into existence by you. The world is not something that happens to you. The world is a mirror reflecting back to you the assumptions you hold in your consciousness. Every circumstance, every encounter, every event, every person is but a reflection of your inner state. Now, when I say assume, I do not mean wish. I do not mean pray and hope for some distant outcome. I mean assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Assume it is true. Assume it is yours. Assume it has already happened. And I tell you, the moment you truly assume it, the world begins to conform to that inner reality. Many of you have been taught to observe the world, to look at conditions, to measure reality by what is outside of you. And when you do this, you are like a leaf blown about by the wind. You are at the mercy of circumstances, of other people, of events that seem outside your control. But the truth, the eternal truth, is that your inner assumption precedes the outer reality. It is the seed from which all experiences grow. The world waits for your assumption. It is powerless without it. Let me give you an example, so that you may see this not as theory, but as practical, living truth. Suppose you wish to find a job, a position of influence, or even a new career. You look at the job market, you analyze your qualifications, you measure what you think is possible. That is looking outward. That is trying to conform to circumstances. And what do you get? Often frustration, often despair, often the feeling that the world is against you. Now, what is the law of assumption approach? It is to close your eyes, enter your imagination, and assume yourself already in the desired state. See yourself working in the position you desire. Feel the satisfaction of your work. Hear the sounds of accomplishment around you. Feel the respect of your colleagues, the joy of your contribution, the ease of your daily tasks. And do not imagine it as a future event. Imagine it as a present reality. You see, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you impress it upon your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, being obedient to the law, cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. It takes your assumption as fact, and once impressed, it begins to orchestrate events, circumstances, and opportunities to bring your inner assumption into the outer world. Some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I have tried this before and it did not work. I tell you, you did not try it with full feeling. You did not assume it as true. The law of assumption requires more than thought. Thought alone is idle. Feeling alone is powerful. Feeling is the substance. Thought without feeling is like a seed cast on barren soil. It will not grow. Feeling is the water, the sunlight, the fertile earth. It brings the seed to life. So tonight I challenge you to practice. Find a quiet moment. Close your eyes and see, feel, and live your desire now. Do not think of the how. Do not worry about the timeline. Do not allow doubt to creep in. Doubt is resistance, and resistance is the greatest enemy of manifestation. Let your assumption be absolute. Let it be complete. Live in the end, and the world must follow. You may say, Neville, what if my desire is grand? What if it seems impossible? My answer to you is simple. Nothing is impossible to consciousness. There is no limit to what your imagination can achieve. The only limits are those you impose upon yourself. If you feel lack, if you feel limitation, if you feel doubt, you are demonstrating to the world exactly the life you will receive. But if you feel abundance, certainty, joy, and fulfillment, you are demonstrating to the world the life that must inevitably manifest. Let us consider love. For example, many of you have been taught that love is something to be found outside of you, that it depends on another person, on circumstances, on timing. But I tell you the truth, love begins within. Assume the feeling of love now. Feel it in your heart. Feel the warmth, the connection, the joy as if your love is already fulfilled. And you will find that the world will respond accordingly. People, circumstances, events, everything will adjust to meet the inner reality you have assumed. The law of assumption also teaches us patience and persistence. You see, your outer world does not always conform instantly. Sometimes the reflection takes time to materialize. But if you persist, if you do not waver, if you do not allow doubt or fear to disturb the assumption, the outer world will align. Think of it as the tides of the ocean. They may retreat before they advance, but the power beneath the surface is constant and unstoppable. So too is your assumption, when firmly held in your consciousness. Tonight I urge you to understand this deeply. You are the only creator of your reality. It is not your boss, not your government, not your circumstances, not luck. It is your consciousness, your inner state, your assumption. If you want wealth, health, success, love, or joy, you must assume it now. See it, feel it, live it, and you will find that the world cannot resist the power of your imagination. Some of you may ask, Neville, what about setbacks? What about disappointment? I tell you, these are not obstacles. They are evidence that your current assumptions are not aligned with your desires. They are signals, not punishments. Revise your inner assumptions. Change your feeling state. Persist in assuming the end as fulfilled, and watch as the outer world adjusts. The greatest secret of all is simplicity. It is not complicated. There are no complex rituals, no endless prayers, no struggle against the world. There is only the conscious assumption, the living in the end and the feeling of your wish fulfilled. If you can grasp this principle, nothing can stop you. Nothing. So tonight I invite you to experiment. Choose one desire, small or grand, and assume it is already yours. Close your eyes each night, feel it, live it, and carry it within you as watch as the world bends and shifts to meet your inner reality. This is the law of assumption. This is the beginning of all creation. And when you understand it, when you live it, you become unstoppable. Remember, it is not the world that creates your life. It is you. And the power to assume is in your hands, in your imagination, in your consciousness. Hold it, cherish it, and let it guide you to the life you have always imagined. Till imagination is reality. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have understood the law of assumption, let us turn our attention to a principle so powerful, yet so misunderstood, that it has eluded the minds of the masses for centuries. That principle is this: imagination is reality. I do not mean that imagination is a mere dream, a flight of fancy, or a pleasant pastime. I mean that imagination is the creative force of God within you, the living power through which all realities are born. Everything you see around you, the buildings, the streets, the machines, the works of art, the very relationships you hold, was first imagined. No man builds a house without first imagining it. No artist paints a masterpiece without first seeing it in the mind. And no life, no experience, no circumstance comes into being except through the imagination of the individual. You are the sculptor of your reality, and imagination is the chisel and hammer. Yet most people live in the world of effects rather than causing. They see what is outside them and think, I must conform to this. I must adapt. I must struggle against what is given. They have mistaken the reflection for the source, but the source is always within. The world outside is nothing but a mirror of your inner consciousness. And what you imagine, what you feel, what you accept as true in your mind, is exactly what the world will eventually reflect back to you. Consider this carefully. The imagination is not a playground for idle thoughts. It is the laboratory of life itself. When you imagine an event, you are not pretending. You are creating. When you imagine yourself healthy, successful, and fulfilled, you are impressing your subconscious mind with a reality that will inevitably manifest. Your imagination is the seed, and the subconscious mind is the fertile soil that brings that seed into expression. Now you may ask, Neville, how do I use imagination effectively? How do I ensure it brings my desires into reality? The answer is simple, yet requires practice. First, you must imagine with feeling. Feeling is the secret ingredient that turns mere thought into creative power. If you simply picture an event without emotion, the subconscious remains unshaken. But when you feel the event as real, when you inhabit it fully, the subconscious accepts it as truth, and once accepted, the outer world cannot help but conform. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose you desire a loving relationship. You do not begin by searching, by asking, by hoping for the perfect partner. Instead, you close your eyes and imagine the relationship as already yours. Feel the warmth of love, the joy of companionship, the laughter, the intimacy. Do not think about who, where, or when. Simply feel the reality as present. Imagine waking up in the morning, hearing the voice of love, feeling the presence beside you. Breathe life into this imagination. Make it tangible in your consciousness. This is no mere daydream. It is creation in action. You see, the subconscious mind is obedient. It does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It receives your imagination as fact and begins to shape circumstances to match it. The outer world may take time to catch up, but it will. There is no debate, no exception, no failure. It works because it is the nature of consciousness itself. Many stumble, however, because they imagine inconsistently or with doubt. They imagine a desire, but then they contradict it with fear, worry, or skepticism. This is like planting a seed in soil and then digging it up repeatedly to see if it is growing. The seed cannot grow in that environment. Your imagination must be consistent, continuous, and unwavering. You must inhabit the imagined state as fully as you would inhabit your present body. Feel it, live it, breathe it, and the world will respond. Now some may say, Neville, this sounds too simple. Surely the world is too complex for imagination alone. I tell you, it is precisely because the world appears complex that imagination is required. Complexity exists only in the realm of appearances. Reality is simplicity itself. Consciousness is the single creative force, and imagination is its instrument. If you master imagination, you master reality. There is nothing else. You do not struggle with circumstances. You do not battle conditions. You align your inner state, and the outer world becomes obedient. Let us also consider wealth and success. Many believe these things come through labor, effort, and external circumstances. But the truth is, all wealth, all opportunities, all accomplishments first exist as imagined states. The businessman imagines a thriving enterprise before a single contract is signed. The inventor imagines a machine before a single piece is built. The artist imagines a masterpiece before the brush touches the canvas. The world outside is merely the echo of the world inside. And so I urge you to take your imagination seriously. Treat it not as a pastime or fantasy, but as the laboratory in which your entire life is being crafted. When you awaken, close your eyes and see yourself as you wish to be. When you walk through the day, maintain that inner vision. Do not let the senses, the opinions of others, or the appearance of reality sway you. Your imagination is higher than appearances, stronger than circumstances, and ultimately, it will prevail. Notice too the power of repetition. Repeated imagination impresses the subconscious more deeply. Imagine your desire vividly each night before sleep. See it clearly, feel it fully, live it as a present reality, and you will awaken to find the world has begun to arrange itself in harmony with your inner state. Sleep, my friends, is a powerful time for creation. The mind is most receptive, most impressionable, most pliable to your conscious imagination. Use it wisely. There is another aspect, often overlooked, the importance of detail. The more precise, the more sensory, the more real your imagination, the more potent it becomes. Do not merely see the desire, hear it, feel it, touch it, even taste it, if you can. Live it as fully as possible. Your imagination is not a vague wish. It is the creative blueprint of your reality. The universe cannot resist a clear, vivid, and felt imagination. Finally, understand this. Imagination is not separate from you. It is your divine self expressing. It is the power that made all things. It is the spark of God in every human soul. When you awaken to this truth, when you assume it and act upon it, you step into your rightful power as a creator. There is no need to wait, no need to plead, no need to struggle. Your imagination, correctly and consistently employed, will do all the work for you. The outer world cannot help but respond. So tonight, I urge you, practice. Close your eyes. Imagine your life as you wish it to be. See it clearly, feel it deeply, inhabit it fully, and know this with absolute certainty. What you imagine is real. Imagination is reality. Live it, believe it, and the world will obey. There is no greater power, no greater truth, no greater law than this. 3. Feeling is the secret. Ladies and gentlemen, having explored the law of assumption and the profound truth that imagination is reality, we now come to what I call the heart of creation itself. Feeling. I tell you tonight, it is not mere visualization, it is not wishful thinking, it is not intellectual understanding alone that manifests your desires, it is feeling. Feeling is the secret. Feeling is the language through which your subconscious mind speaks, the invisible force that shapes your world. You see, thought without feeling is powerless. The intellect can plan, reason, and strategize endlessly. Yet without the companion of feeling, nothing comes into being. The imagination may form the picture, the mind may know the desire, but it is feeling that breathes life into the unseen and draws it into the world of form. Feeling is the substance of reality. It is the bridge between the inner world and the outer world. It is the magnet that attracts circumstances, people, and events that correspond to your inner state. Consider this carefully. Every human experience begins with a feeling. You have all felt the power of emotion to influence the moment. When you are joyful, life seems to flow effortless. When you are fearful, obstacles appear everywhere. The difference is not the circumstances, it is your feeling. You are feeling your world into existence every moment of every day, whether consciously or unconscious. And the moment you become conscious of this, you become the master of your own life. Now let us be specific. Many people attempt to manifest desires, and they imagine, they plan, they visualize, but they do so without emotion. They see themselves wealthy, but their heart is anxious. They see themselves in a loving relationship, but their mind doubts. They imagine success, but their chest is heavy with worry, and so the subconscious mind is confused. It cannot obey thought alone. It responds to feeling. You must feel the reality as real as if it is already yours. Feeling is not something you fabricate. It is not something you pretend. It is something you immerse yourself in. Close your eyes and imagine the fulfillment of your desire. Hear the sounds, see the colors, smell the scents, taste the sweetness, and feel the reality as though it is happening now. Let joy, gratitude, and satisfaction surge through your body. Let your heartbeat, your breath, and your entire being align with the reality of your wish fulfilled. This is no act. It is no mere fantasy. It is the act of creation itself. Why, you may ask, is feeling so powerful? Because your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between actual events and vividly felt experiences. It does not know the difference between memory, imagination, or present reality. To it, all that you impress upon it is real, and once impressed, it moves to adjust your outer circumstances to reflect the inner reality you have created. This is why I say feeling is the secret. It is the fuel, the current, the invisible force that brings your desires into being. Let us take a practical example. Suppose you wish for health. You do not start by worrying about your body, examining symptoms, or comparing yourself to others. That is the world of lack and limitation. Instead, you close your eyes and feel yourself perfectly healthy. Imagine the vitality flowing through every cell of your body, the energy in your step, the clarity in your mind. Feel the joy, the freedom, and the strength as if you are already healed. Maintain that feeling, saturate yourself with it, persist in it, and watch as your outer body begins to respond to the inner state. Or consider wealth. Many imagine money, but they feel fear. They worry about bills, debts, or scarcity. Their imagination is counteracted by their feeling, and thus nothing manifests. But when you feel the reality of wealth, when you sense abundance as present, when gratitude flows through you as if your accounts are full, opportunities, ideas, people, and circumstances will respond to match your inner state. The world outside is obedient to your feeling. This is not speculation. It is the immutable law of consciousness. And what of love? Love is a feeling. If you wish for a relationship, do not look outward for someone to fill a void. Instead, close your eyes and feel love as though it is already yours. Feel the connection, the warmth, the joy of companionship. Let your entire being vibrate with the reality of that love, and the world will mirror your inner state. People, circumstances, and experiences will conspire to bring the imagined feeling into reality. The feeling itself is the magnet. The world is the reflection. Notice also, my friends, that feeling must be consistent and sustained. A momentary surge of emotion is not enough. The subconscious responds to the prevailing state of consciousness. You must maintain the feeling as your dominant inner reality. Each night before sleep, Enter your imagination and live your desire with feeling. In the quiet hours when the conscious mind rests, the subconscious absorbs and solidifies your inner reality. This is how miracles occur. Some ask, Neville, what if I cannot feel it strongly? What if I feel doubt? I tell you this. Do not struggle to feel. Start where you are. Introduce small sensations, small affirmations, small joys into your imagination. As you practice, as you persist, your feelings will grow stronger, richer, more real. Like a muscle, the faculty of feeling strengthens with use. And the more real your feeling, the more certain your manifestation. The greatest secret of all, however, is this. Do not wait for the outer world to feel real. Too many look at circumstances, judge them, and adjust their feelings accordingly. This is backwards. You must feel first, and the world will follow. Do not ask, do not plead, do not negotiate with reality. Simply feel the reality as accomplished, as present, as true, and the world outside will conform. Tonight I challenge you to practice this. Close your eyes, choose a desire, any desire. Imagine it clearly, see it, hear it, touch it, taste it, and then feel it. Breathe life into it. Let it saturate your mind, your heart, your body, and your spirit. Persist, and you will discover a truth more powerful than anything you have ever known. Feeling is the secret. It is the key to all creation. The invisible hand that moves the world, the power by which dreams become reality. Remember, the outer world is obedient. It cannot resist the inner reality you impress upon it. When you feel, truly feel, you are commanding life itself. You are speaking the language that the universe understands. You are no longer a passive observer. You are a conscious creator, and the results, my friends, will astonish you. For living in the end. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to speak to you about a principle so powerful that when applied, it alone can transform your life. This principle is called living in the end. It is the art and science of assuming your desire as already accomplished, of inhabiting the state of the wish fulfilled, and of letting that inner reality govern your outer world. It is simple, yet so few understand it. It is natural, yet so few practice it. And it is the key that unlocks the door to all manifestation. You see, most people live in a state of becoming. They're always striving towards something, always chasing a goal, always hoping for a future event to bring satisfaction. They say, when I achieve this, I will be happy. When I acquire that, I will feel fulfilled. And in doing so, they create a gulf between themselves and their desires. They live in the gap between what is and what they hope will be. This is the law of limitation. This is why so many struggle, even when they possess great ability. But the secret is this. You must live as if your desire is already fulfilled. You must enter into the state that would be true if your wish had already come to pass. You must act, feel, and think from the end, not from the mean. To live in the end is to inhabit the reality of your desire now, before it appears in the world of form. This is not wishful thinking. It is creation itself. Consider this carefully. Suppose your desire is wealth. Most people think, I must work hard, I must save, I must plan, I must wait. They live in lack, and thus they experience lack. But if you live in the end, you assume the feeling of wealth now. You feel the ease, the security, the abundance, the freedom. You see yourself enjoying your riches, making decisions from a position of plenty, feeling gratitude for the prosperity that surrounds you. You do not act from scarcity. You act from fulfillment. You do not wait for circumstances. You let circumstances follow your inner state. Suppose your desire is love. Many look outward, seeking the perfect partner, examining who is available, worrying about timing, chance, or conditions. And in doing so, they remain alone, frustrated and fearful. But if you live in the end, you close your eyes and feel the love is already present. You experience the warmth, the intimacy, the joy of connection. You breathe it, you move through your day as though it is real. And the world must adjust to your inner state. The outer world is powerless against a mind that lives in the end. Notice, my friends, that to live in the end is not to ignore reality. It is to rewrite it. Reality is flexible. It is shaped by consciousness. The world outside is a mirror. If you maintain the state of the wish fulfilled, the reflection will inevitably follow. But you must be vigilant. You cannot waver, you cannot doubt, you cannot entertain contradictions. Doubt is the destroyer of manifestation. When you live in the end, you close the door to doubt and open the door to certainty. Let me also explain something subtle yet crucial. Living in the end is not merely thinking about your desire. It is feeling it as real in the present moment. It is saturating your imagination with the sensory and emotional experience of fulfillment. It is seeing yourself in the situation, hearing the sounds, smelling the scents, touching the objects, and most importantly, feeling the emotions that accompany the realization of your desire. When you can do this convincingly, the subconscious mind accepts it as truth, and the world must conform. Some ask, Neville, how long must I live in the end before it manifests? My answer is simple: long enough to impress the subconscious, deeply and thoroughly. It is not a matter of hours, days, or weeks. It is a matter of intensity, consistency, and feeling. Some accomplish it in a single evening. Others take longer depending on the strength of their inner conviction. But the law is unchanging. The inner state governs the outer world. Persist until the subconscious is satisfied. Persist until the feeling of the wish fulfilled becomes second nature. Let us take an example. Suppose you wish to own a new home. You do not begin by looking at listings, visiting houses, or negotiating prices. Those are the outer reflections. Instead, close your eyes and see yourself opening the door of your new home. Feel the weight of the keys in your hand. Walk through the rooms, touch the surfaces, smell the air. Imagine the sunlight on the walls, the warmth under your feet, the comfort of the furniture. Feel the peace, the pride, the joy of ownership. Live it as if it is now. The world outside will follow, and soon the doors will open, the keys will be yours, and the home will appear in the physical world. Some of you may worry, but Neville, what about the practical steps? Must I not act? Yes, action is necessary, but action flows naturally from the inner state. When you live in the end, inspired action arises spontaneously. You do not force, you do not struggle, you do not manipulate. Opportunities appear, doors open, people come into alignment, and your outer behavior is guided by the inner reality. The action of those who live in the end is effortless, because it is aligned with the law. Notice too the importance of detachment. When you live in the end, you do not cling. You do not obsess over the how or when. You know that the desire is already yours. You relax, you rest, and you trust the process. Ironically, detachment strengthens manifestation. The outer world cannot resist a mind that is at peace with the outcome. Resistance is the only force that delays realization. Let go of struggle. Let go of doubt. Let go of tension. Live in the end and the world will conform. Living in the end also requires revision of old habits and beliefs. You cannot inhabit a new reality while maintaining the old assumptions. If you desire abundance but feel lack, if you desire love but feel loneliness, you must revise your inner state. Rewrite the assumptions of your mind. Enter the state that corresponds to your desire, as if it has already come to pass. The outer world is obedient to this inner reality. It cannot resist. Finally, understand this. Time is irrelevant. The end is now. Do not wait for conditions to change. Do not wait for a future event to occur. The end exists in consciousness, in your imagination, in your feeling. When you live in the end, the past and the future bend to the present reality you inhabit. You are not chasing, you are being. You are not hoping, you are knowing. You are not asking, you are assuming. And in this state, the outer world cannot help but manifest your desire. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to take this teaching seriously. Practice living in the end. Choose a desire, any desire. Close your eyes, feel it, experience it as real. Persist until it saturates your consciousness, and watch with absolute certainty as the world aligns to your inner state. This is no theory. This is not philosophy. This is the living law of creation. To live in the end is to master reality. To live in the end is to create effortlessly, joyfully, and completely. 5. Revision. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to reveal to you a tool so simple yet so powerful that it allows you to rewrite your entire experience of life. This tool is called revision. It is the practice of going back into the past, not to dwell, not to regret, but to reimagine events as you wished they had occurred. By revising your memory, you impress your subconscious mind with a new reality, and the outer world rearranges itself accordingly. Many people live their lives enslaved to the past. They carry grudges, regrets, disappointments, and failures as if they were unchangeable facts. They say, "It happened, and I cannot change it." But I tell you tonight, you can change it, not by altering the external events themselves, but by altering your inner assumption about them. The subconscious mind accepts what you impress upon it as real, and once impressed, it works tirelessly to make your inner revision visible in your outer world. Revision is the art of conscious reinterpretation. It is the understanding that your memory is not fixed, that it is a living field where imagination and feeling can rewrite experience. Close your eyes and see the event that troubled you. See it as it could have been, as it should have been. Feel the outcome you desire. Experience the joy, the success, the harmony, or the fulfillment that was absent before. Saturate the scene with the feeling of satisfaction, completion, and peace. By doing this, you are not escaping reality, you are transforming it at its root in the consciousness that creates all reality. Consider, for example, a disappointment in business or career. You may have failed at a project, lost an opportunity, or been rejected. Most carry this failure like a chain, repeating it endlessly in thought and word. And what happens? The outer world continues to mirror the inner state of failure. But if you revise the event, you imagine the project succeeding, the opportunity manifesting, the rejection transformed into acceptance. You feel the triumph, the joy, the validation. You impress upon your subconscious the reality you desire, and your world begins to change. Opportunities arise, doors open, and circumstances shift to reflect your new inner state. Revision is not limited to failures. It can also be applied to any memory that limits your imagination. Childhood experiences, past relationships, social setbacks, or moments of fear. All of these can be rewritten. By imagining them differently, by feeling them as you wish them to be, you release their power over your present and future. The past no longer governs you. It becomes your tool for creating the reality you desire. Now you may ask, Neville, is this deceitful? Is it not pretending? I tell you, it is not deception. It is conscious creation. You are not lying to the world. You are realigning your consciousness with the truth of who you are and what you deserve. The subconscious mind accepts this new reality and moves to manifest it in the world of form. The outer world is obedient. It cannot resist the impressions impressed upon it from within. Let me give another example. Suppose you had a falling out with a loved one. You may have spoken harsh words, felt anger, or been misunderstood. You carry this memory as a source of pain. Through revision, you imagine the conversation differently. You see yourself responding with understanding, compassion, and clarity. You feel the reconciliation, the warmth, the joy of restored harmony. You impress this new scene upon your subconscious, and over time relationships shift, misunderstandings dissolve, and peace is restored. The past is rewritten, and your present reflects the new assumption. Revision also works for physical circumstances. Suppose you experienced illness, hardship, or scarcity. Instead of dwelling on the discomfort, you close your eyes and revise the memory. See yourself healthy, abundant, and thriving. Feel the vitality, the security, the freedom you wish to experience. As your inner state changes, your outer world aligns, health returns, opportunities appear, abundance flows, all because you have impressed the new reality upon your consciousness. The beauty of revision is its simplicity. It requires no tools, no rituals, no elaborate practices. All it requires is your attention, your imagination, and your feeling. Each night before sleep is an ideal time to practice. The mind is most receptive, the subconscious most pliable. Close your eyes, review your day, review past events, and revise them as you wish they had been. Feel the satisfaction, the completion, the joy. Persist in this practice, and you will awaken to a world transformed. Notice, my friends, that revision is also a preventive measure. By revising the events of your day, you prevent the creation of negative seeds in the subconscious mind. Every unaddressed disappointment, conflict, or regret is a seed that will grow if left unchecked. By consciously revising, you plant seeds of fulfillment, harmony, and success instead. This is the subtle, invisible work of creation, yet it is the most powerful work you can do. Some of you may wonder, Neville, what if the past seems too fixed, too real, too unchangeable? I tell you, nothing is fixed except in appearance. Consciousness is fluid. Reality is shaped by assumption. The past is alive in memory, and memory is pliable. By impressing a new assumption upon your subconscious, you alter the foundation from which your present and future arise. The past itself bends to your imagination, and so revision is not merely a tool for correcting errors. It is a powerful instrument of conscious creation. It allows you to take control of your life, to release the limitations of past events, and to shape a future aligned with your desires. It empowers you to live in the end, to assume the state you wish to experience, and to let your outer world reflect your inner reality. Tonight I urge you to practice revision. Choose one event, small or large, that has caused discomfort, limitation, or regret. Close your eyes. Imagine it as you wished it had occurred. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the resolution. Persist in this feeling. Let it saturate your consciousness. And watch, with unwavering certainty, as the world rearranges itself to reflect the new reality you have created. Remember, my friends, you are the master of your reality. The past is not a prison. It is a canvas. The present is not a limitation. It is a labyrinth. And the future is not unknown. It is a reflection of the assumptions you hold now. By revising the past, you liberate the present and shape the future. This is the secret of all successful men and women. This is the power that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. This is the law of revision. 6. Faith and persistence. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have explored the power of assumption, imagination, feeling, living in the end, and revision, we come to two principles that are inseparable and essential for the manifestation of any desire: faith and persistence. Without these, all the practices we have discussed may falter. With them, the impossible becomes inevitable, and the unseen becomes reality. Tonight, I will show you how faith and persistence are not merely virtues. They are the very mechanics of creation itself. Faith, my friends, is not mere belief in something external. It is not hope, and it is not wishful thinking. Faith is the inner certainty that what you desire is already yours, that your assumption has already taken root in your consciousness, and that the world will, without fail, reflect this inner reality. Faith is the unwavering trust in the unseen, the recognition that the creative power of your mind cannot be thwarted by appearances. You see, most people live in a state of doubt. They look outward for proof. They say, if I see evidence, then I will believe. This is the way of the world, but it is not the way of creation. Creation always precedes evidence. You do not wait for circumstances to prove the truth. You assume the truth within, and the circumstances must follow. Faith is the awareness of this law and the inner alignment with it. Faith is not intellectual, it is emotional, experiential, and living. It is the conviction of the heart that the unseen is more powerful than the seen. Persistence, on the other hand, is the continuation of faith in the face of delay, doubt, and apparent contradiction. Many give up because the outer world does not immediately conform. They become discouraged, impatient, or anxious. But the outer world is only a reflection of the inner state. As long as you persist in your assumption, as long as you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the world cannot help but align. Persistence is the act of holding your inner state steady until manifestation occurs. It is the refusal to surrender to appearance. Let me give you a practical illustration. Suppose you desire a new career, a promotion, or financial abundance. You assume the state is already fulfilled. You feel the satisfaction, the joy, the freedom that comes with this accomplishment. And yet, days, weeks, or months pass without visible change. Many would despair, thinking the law has failed. But the law has not failed. Only the persistence of faith has been tested. Persist and the circumstances will bend. Doors will open, opportunities will appear, and people will respond in ways that align with your inner assumption. The unseen never fails. It is your persistence that determines its expression. Faith and persistence are intimately linked. Faith without persistence is fleeting, and persistence without faith is mechanical. Faith is the certainty of the unseen. Persistence is the action of living in that certainty continuously, moment by moment, until the outer world reflects the inner reality. They work together like the two wings of a bird. One without the other cannot achieve flight. Now some of you may ask, Neville, how do I maintain faith when doubts and fears arise? The answer is simple: return to the state of the wish fulfilled. Do not argue with your doubts. Do not try to force belief. Simply close your eyes, feel the reality of your desire as already accomplished, and impress it upon your consciousness. Repeat this often. Persist in the feeling, in the assumption, and in the living of the end. The subconscious mind accepts repeated impressions as reality, and the outer world must conform. Consider love, for example. Many of you wish for a fulfilling relationship, but you look around and see obstacles, timing, circumstances, or the actions of another person. You may be tempted to doubt, but faith is knowing that the desired state already exists in consciousness. Persistence is feeling that state daily, hourly, consistently, without allowing appearances to dictate your inner condition. In this way, the outer world adjusts, and love flows into your experience. Persistence also requires patience. Do not measure your progress by the speed of manifestation. Time is irrelevant to consciousness. The law is not bound by days, weeks, or months. It is bound only by the consistency of your inner state. Some manifestations appear quickly, others take longer, depending on the depth and clarity of your assumption, the strength of your feeling, and the thoroughness of your persistence. But if you do not waver, if you continue to live, in the end, all that you have assumed will eventually take form. Faith, my friends, is strengthened through repetition. The more you impress upon your consciousness the reality of your desire, the more natural and certain it becomes. Each night before sleep, enter into your imagination and live your wish fulfilled. Each day, carry the feeling with you, act as if it is real, and trust the unseen power working through you. The subconscious absorbs these impressions and begins to orchestrate events in your favor. Persistence is the commitment to repeat this process until your outer world reflects your inner reality. Notice too that faith and persistence are independent of circumstances. You do not look at the world for confirmation. You do not plead with reality. You do not manipulate others. You simply maintain the inner state of your desire realized, and the universe must respond. The power lies not in external conditions, but in the steadfastness of your inner assumption. The outer world has no authority over your consciousness. It is your consciousness that governs the outer world. Some of you may have experienced frustration because you tried manifestation without persistence. You imagined once, perhaps for a moment, and then gave up when nothing happened immediately. This is not the law of failing, this is the law of being ignored. Manifestation is the reward of sustained inner faith. It is the fruit of persistent assumption, repeated feeling, and unwavering alignment with the end. Without persistence, even the strongest desire remains unrealized. Let us also consider the role of faith in adversity. Life may present obstacles, setbacks, or apparent contradictions. Do not see these as failures. See them as tests of your faith. Persist in your assumption. Feel the end accomplished. Let no appearance disturb the inner reality. The unseen is always faithful. It is only our wavering that delays fulfillment. Faith does not waver. Persistence does not falter. Together they are unstoppable. Finally, understand this. Faith and persistence are not passive. They require conscious attention, repeated effort, and emotional engagement. They are the living, active powers of creation. When combined with assumption, imagination, feeling, living in the end, and revision, they form a complete system of manifestation. Apply them consistently and you will find that nothing can resist the power of your consciousness. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you tonight to embrace faith and persistence as your allies. Close your eyes each night and live your desire with feeling. Persist daily, hourly, consciously, with unwavering certainty. Let no doubt, no fear, no circumstance shake your inner state. Persist and the world must bend. Faith and persistence are the forces that turn imagination into reality, feeling into form, desire into fulfillment. Without them, all else is theory. With them, all else is inevitable. 7. Leaving without resistance. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have explored assumption, imagination, feeling, living in the end, revision, faith, and persistence, we come to a principle that is both subtle and immensely powerful: living without resistance. This principle is often overlooked, yet it is the secret that determines whether your manifestations flow easily or struggle against unseen barriers. To live without resistance is to allow the full power of your consciousness to operate without contradiction, doubt, or inner conflict. You see, most people unconsciously resist the very desires they seek to manifest. They want love, yet harbor resentment. They want wealth, yet dwell in fear of lack. They want success, yet cling to old habits and limiting beliefs. This inner contradiction produces resistance. And resistance is the only force that can block manifestation. The world outside is obedient, but it mirrors your inner state. Where there is resistance, the outer world cannot reflect the inner desire. Where there is harmony, the outer world obeys effortlessly. Living without resistance begins with awareness. You must observe the inner conversations of your mind. You must notice when doubt, fear, worry, or negative expectation arises. These are signs of resistance, and when you become aware of them, you can consciously replace them with assumption, feeling, and belief. You do not argue with the resistance. You simply redirect your inner state to align with the reality you wish to experience. Consider a simple example. Suppose you desire financial abundance, yet every time a bill arrives, you feel anxiety, fear, or scarcity. You are resisting the reality of wealth by clinging to lack. To live without resistance, you must consciously shift your feeling. Close your eyes and imagine your financial abundance. Feel the ease, the freedom, the security, the joy of having more than enough. Persist in this state. Let the anxiety dissolve into certainty. Let the fear be replaced with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In doing so, you remove resistance, and the outer world begins to respond. Resistance often arises from the habit of judging circumstances. People say, I cannot manifest this because of reality, or I am limited by what has happened. These judgments are forms of inner resistance. They declare that the external world is more powerful than your consciousness. But the truth, my friends, is the opposite. Consciousness is the ultimate reality and the world must obey it. To live without resistance is to release judgment and accept that your inner state is the creative source. You are not bound by conditions. Conditions are bound by you. Living without resistance also requires the art of forgiveness and letting go. Holding on to resentment, anger or blame creates invisible chains that bind your creative power. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between righteous anger and petty grievance. It accepts all as truth and reflects it outward. To live without resistance, forgive the past, release the negative emotions, and replace them with feeling aligned with your desire. Feel the peace, the joy, and the satisfaction that come when inner conflict dissolves. In this state, your manifestations flow unhindered. Another form of resistance is impatience. Many assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, yet grow anxious when the outer world does not immediately respond. Impatience signals inner resistance. It is a subtle form of disbelief. Living without resistance requires patience, trust, and detachment. Persist in your assumption, maintain the feeling, and let the timing be invisible to you. The world will respond in perfect order. Your role is to hold the inner state, not to force the outer circumstances. Let us also consider resistance in relationships. You may desire love, companionship, or harmony, yet unconsciously resist by focusing on flaws, past grievances, or fear of rejection. These thoughts and feelings act as barriers. To live without resistance, imagine the relationship as you wish it to be. Feel the love, the connection, the joy, and the security as present. Release all attention from obstacles, and the outer world will reflect the new inner reality. Resistance dissolves when the inner state is free from contradiction. Living without resistance is also closely tied to faith and persistence. Faith eliminates doubt. Persistence sustains alignment. But resistance is the silent enemy that creeps in unnoticed. It is the inner tension that says, I hope it works, instead of, it is done. It is the whisper of fear that contradicts the assumption. The moment you become aware of this resistance, you can remove it by returning to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Resistance cannot survive where feeling and faith dominate. A practical technique to dissolve resistance is to observe and replace. When a thought, feeling, or memory arises that contradicts your desire, notice it without judgment and immediately replace it with a new assumption and feeling. Imagine, feel, and live the scene as you wish it to be. Repeat this consistently, and the subconscious mind gradually aligns. The outer world then becomes a faithful reflection of the inner state. Living without resistance is not a passive practice. It is active, conscious, and continuous. Another subtle point. Resistance is often hidden in language. Words such as I cannot, I hope, I will try, or it is difficult carry resistance. These statements declare disbelief, lack, or limitation. Living without resistance requires careful attention to your inner and outer language. Speak and think from the end. Say, I am abundant, I am loved, I am successful. Align your words, thoughts, and feelings. The subconscious mind is impressionable. It absorbs these truths and shapes your reality accordingly. Notice, my friends, that living without resistance is not about suppressing thoughts or emotions. It is not about denial or avoidance. It is about alignment. It is about consciously choosing the inner state that corresponds to the desired reality and letting go of all inner contradiction. It is the art of allowing your creative power to flow freely, without obstruction. When you practice this consistently, the world around you must respond. Finally, understand this. Resistance is optional. It only exists if you entertain it. Consciousness is pliable, responsive, and creative. By choosing to live without resistance, you harness the full power of your imagination, feeling, and assumption. The law of your being responds instantly and unerringly. The outer world cannot resist an inner state that is free from contradiction. Living without resistance is the key to effortless creation, rapid manifestation, and the joyful expression of your desire. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you tonight to observe, release, and realign. Notice any inner conflict, any doubt, any fear. Replace it with assumption, feeling, and faith. Persist in this alignment. Live in the end. Let no resistance obscure your vision. As you do this, you will discover a profound truth. Life flows effortlessly when inner harmony reigns. Manifestation becomes not a struggle, but a natural expression of your consciousness. This, my friends, is the power of living without resistance. Faith, the law of attraction explained. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have explored the power of assumption, imagination, feeling, living in the end, revision, faith, persistence, and living without resistance, we arrive at a principle often spoken of, but rarely understood in its true depth, the law of attraction. You have heard it called the secret, the magnetic power, the law that draws to you the conditions of your life. But I tell you tonight, its power is nothing compared to the understanding of how it operates in the consciousness of man. Once you grasp this, manifestation becomes not just possible, it becomes inevitable. The law of attraction is not some mystical force floating in the universe. It is the natural result of your inner state. It is the reflection of consciousness in the outer world. Whatever you hold in your imagination, whatever you feel, whatever you assume is true, draws circumstances, people, and events that correspond to it. It is the silent law that obeys your inner conviction without question. But here is where most people fail. They attempt to manipulate, to hope, to plead, or to wish, without understanding the mechanics of attraction. Let me clarify. Attraction is not a process of asking and waiting. It is not about sending vibrations, counting affirmations, or performing rituals. It is about alignment of consciousness. When your inner state is one of fulfilled desire, when your imagination is vivid, and your feeling is complete, the subconscious mind is impressed, and the outer world cannot help but obey. The law of attraction is the obedient reflection of your inner reality. What you are within, you draw without. Consider a man who desires prosperity. He may read books, repeat affirmations, and visualize, yet if his inner feeling is one of scarcity, doubt, or lack, the law of attraction is powerless to bring him abundance. Why? Because attraction does not respond to desire. It responds to state. The subconscious mind which governs attraction moves only according to the assumption impressed upon it. This is why feeling is the secret, why living in the end is essential, and why faith and persistence are non-negotiable. Without the proper state, nothing manifests. Let us take another example. Love. Many search for love outside themselves, hoping to attract a partner. They pray, they wish, they hope, yet they remain lonely. Why? Because attraction mirrors inner reality. If the inner state is fear, doubt, or neediness, the world reflects loneliness. If the inner state is love, confidence, and fulfillment, the world must respond with relationships, opportunities, and connections that mirror that state. Attraction is not magic. It is the mirror of consciousness. Now, some of you may wonder about the delay of manifestation. You assume, you feel, yet the desired result does not appear immediately. This is not failure. This is the law at work. The subconscious mind, once impressed, operates according to the depth, clarity, and consistency of your inner state. Sometimes outer circumstances take time to adjust, people take time to align, and situations take time to materialize. But the law is never in error. The outer world will always reflect the inner state. It is only a matter of persistence and living in the end. Ensure that alignment is maintained until the world obeys. Another subtle point, the law of attraction cannot distinguish between positive and negative assumption. It responds equally to fear, doubt, anxiety, and worry as it does to hope, joy, and fulfillment. This is why so many inadvertently attract what they do not want. They focus on problems, limitations, or lack, and the world responds accordingly. The universe is neutral. It simply reflects your dominant assumption. Awareness and control of your inner state is therefore essential. To attract what you desire, impress the subconscious mind with a state of fulfillment, certainty, and joy, and the outer world must conform. Notice, my friends, that attraction is not a force outside of you. It is a law of your own consciousness. You are both the creator and the receiver. The world cannot resist your inner state. Conditions, circumstances, and people are drawn into your experience to match your assumptions. This is why imagination, feeling, and living in the end are not optional. They are the precise instruments through which attraction operates. To misunderstand this is to struggle needlessly. To understand it is to command reality effortlessly. Let us consider wealth once more. A man who assumes abundance, who imagines prosperity in vivid detail, who feels the joy of financial freedom, will find opportunities appearing, ideas flowing, circumstances aligning, contracts, investments, partnerships and sources of income will appear, often in unexpected ways. He does not chase or plead, he simply maintains the inner state. Attraction is automatic, natural and unerring. The outer world has no choice but to conform. The same applies to health. Imagine yourself healthy, vibrant and full of energy. Feel the vitality in every cell of your body. Trust that the subconscious mind governs the body and that it will respond to the impressed assumption. Gradually, the outer body adjusts to reflect the inner state. Attraction is not limited to material gain. It governs every aspect of life, relationships, opportunities, personal growth, and spiritual fulfillment. Whatever you impress upon your consciousness, you draw into your experience. Now there is one final, often overlooked element of attraction: non-resistance. When you cling, worry or judge, you create barriers. When you relax, trust and live in the end, you allow attraction to operate unhindered. The law of attraction cannot resist a consciousness that is fully aligned. Resistance delays, alignment accelerates. Therefore, let go of struggle, let go of fear, and let the law work through your inner state without obstruction. Some may ask, Neville, is the law mechanical? Yes and no. It is mechanical in its obedience. It cannot fail. It is automatic in its reflection. But it is deeply spiritual in its foundation, for it is the law of consciousness itself. Your mind, your imagination, your feeling, and your assumption are the instruments through which this law operates. Master them, and attraction becomes a natural, effortless expression of your being. Misuse them, and you attract limitations, struggles, and disappointment. In conclusion, the law of attraction is simple yet profound. What you are, you attract. What you assume, you receive. What you feel, you manifest. Nothing exists outside this principle. There is no exception, no loophole, no failure. The world is obedient to your consciousness. Align yourself with the reality you desire. Persist in feeling, live in the end, revise the past, remove resistance, maintain faith, and continue until the outer world mirrors the inner state. Then, and only then, will you experience the miraculous power of attraction in its fullest. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this law, embody it, and let it govern your life. The universe is not hostile, not random, not uncertain. It is faithful, precise, and obedient to your inner state. The moment you align your imagination, feeling, and assumption with the reality you wish to experience, attraction will bring it to you effortlessly, inevitably, and joyfully. This, my friends, is the true law of attraction, fully understood and consciously applied. 9. The power of awareness. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we arrive at a principle that is as subtle as it is powerful. The power of awareness. All of the tools and techniques we have discussed, assumption, imagination, feeling, living in the end, revision, faith, persistence, living without resistance, and the law of attraction, are nothing without awareness. Awareness is the guiding force that determines whether these principles operate effectively or remain dormant within you. To master manifestation, you must first master awareness. Awareness is the conscious attention you give to your inner world. It is the observation of your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions without distraction, without judgment, without denial. Most people live unconsciously. They drift through life reacting to circumstances, reacting to others, reacting to events, unaware that they are the creators of their own reality. They say, life happens to me, as if the universe is a force outside of themselves. This, my friends, is the source of all limitation. True awareness, however, is the recognition that your consciousness is the source of your experience. Everything you see, everything you encounter, every condition in your life is a mirror reflecting your inner state. Awareness allows you to see this clearly. It allows you to recognize the thoughts, feelings, and assumptions that shape your reality. It allows you to intervene, redirect, and impress new assumptions upon the subconscious mind. Awareness is the key that unlocks the creative power that lies within you. Let me give you a practical example. Suppose you are walking through your day and encounter difficulties, disappointments, or frustrations. The average person reacts with anger, fear, or complaint. They are unaware that their inner state creates the outer circumstances they experience. But when you are aware, you see the situation not as an obstacle, but as a signal, a mirror of your inner assumption. You notice the feeling that created it, you revise it if necessary, and you consciously assume the state of the wish fulfilled. Awareness gives you the power to correct, redirect, and create. Awareness is also essential in the practice of living in the end. You cannot live from the end if you are unaware of your present inner state. Many attempt to assume their desire, yet allow contradictory feelings of doubt, fear, or limitation to persist unnoticed. These unnoticed states act as resistance, quietly undermining manifestation. Awareness allows you to catch these contradictions, to observe them without judgment, and to replace them with the state that corresponds to the reality you wish to experience. Consider the importance of awareness in revision. Each evening, as you review the events of your day, awareness allows you to notice moments where disappointment, regret, or frustration occur. With this recognition, you can revise the events in your imagination, impress the desired outcome upon your subconscious, and release the limiting memory. Without awareness, these opportunities for transformation pass unnoticed, and the subconscious remains impressed with the original limiting assumption. Awareness is the lens through which revision becomes effective. Awareness also governs faith and persistence. Faith is the certainty of the unseen. Persistence is the continuation of this certainty over time. But both can be weakened by subtle, unnoticed doubts or contradictions. Awareness allows you to observe these fissures in your inner state. It allows you to catch the fleeting doubts before they solidify into resistance. It allows you to renew your assumption, to return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to persist without wavering. Awareness is the consciousness that sustains the power of manifestation. Furthermore, awareness is the tool that dissolves resistance. As we discussed in the previous section, resistance arises whenever there is a contradiction between your desire and your inner state. You may desire love, yet feel fear. You may desire abundance, yet dwell in scarcity. Awareness allows you to notice these contradictions, to see them clearly, and to intervene. You can replace fear with confidence, scarcity with abundance, and contradiction with alignment. Living without resistance requires this vigilant observation of the inner world. Another subtle but crucial application of awareness is in the use of imagination and feeling. Imagination is not enough. Feeling is not enough. Feeling is not enough. The combination must be guided by conscious awareness. You must notice whether your imagination is vivid, whether your feeling is complete, whether your assumption aligns with your desire. If you are unaware, the practice becomes mechanical, empty, and ineffective. Awareness ensures that your creative faculties operate with precision, power, and clarity. Let us also consider awareness in the context of daily life. Many people go through their routines, unconsciously responding to external events, repeating habitual thought patterns, and reinforcing old assumptions. Each day, they reinforce the reality they do not desire, unaware of the law in operation. But when you cultivate awareness, you transform every moment into an opportunity for creation. Every thought becomes intentional, every feeling deliberate, every interaction an expression of the reality you wish to inhabit. Awareness transforms life into conscious. Awareness is not a state of tension or effort. It is a relaxed, alert, and observing consciousness. It is the state in which you notice without attachment, observe without judgment, and direct without strain. In this state, the subconscious mind is fully receptive. The law of attraction operates freely, and manifestation becomes effortless. Awareness is the gateway through which the unseen expresses itself in the seen. Moreover, awareness reveals the subtlety of consciousness itself. It allows you to perceive that nothing exists outside your mind. All conditions, circumstances, and events are reflections of your inner state. Awareness empowers you to observe, interpret, and impress new assumptions upon the mind. It transforms the ordinary mind into a conscious creative force. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you tonight to cultivate awareness in every aspect of your life. Observe your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. Notice the subtle contradictions, the hidden doubts, the unspoken fear. Catch them early, revise them, and replace them with the state of the wish fulfilled. Persist in this awareness, and you will find that manifestation is no longer an effort, no longer a struggle, no longer a hope. It becomes the natural outcome of your consciousness. In conclusion, awareness is the master key. All techniques, all practices, all principles we have discussed, assumption, imagination, feeling, living in the end, revision, faith, persistence, living without resistance, and the law of attraction, are powerless without it. Awareness is the conscious attention that directs the creative power within you. Awareness allows you to see, correct, align, and impress your desired reality. Awareness transforms life from reaction to creation, from limitation to possibility, from hope to fulfillment. Tonight I invite you to awaken to the power of awareness. Watch your mind. Observe your feeling. Notice your assumptions. Direct them consciously. Persist in this observation until your inner state becomes aligned with the reality you wish to experience. And as you do this, you will find the world outside inevitably rearranging itself to reflect the fullness of your consciousness. This, my friends, is the true power of awareness and the key to conscious creation. 10. The final revelation. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, as we arrive at the final revelation, I want you to understand that everything I have shared, the principles, the practices, the subtle techniques, the laws culminate in one essential truth. You're the creator of your reality, and the world outside is but a reflection of your consciousness. All the methods we have explored, all the exercises, all the steps are merely pathways to awaken you to this truth. And once awakened, nothing can limit you. The revelation is this: there is no force outside of you that can alter the outcome of your life, except your own consciousness. Every circumstance, every person, every event you experience has been drawn into your life by the inner assumptions you hold. Your imagination, your feeling, your assumption, your faith, your persistence, and your awareness. These are the instruments of creation. The world around you is obedient. It waits for your instruction. It mirrors the state you carry within. Many people live their lives looking outward, seeking validation, waiting for circumstances to align, hoping for external change. They look at the world and say, if only things were different, I could be happy. If only people acted as I wish, I would succeed. But the truth, my friends, is entirely different. The world will never change until you change within. Happiness, abundance, love, success, they all begin as an inner assumption. They all begin in imagination and feeling. They all begin in the consciousness of the one who desires. Consider for a moment the most successful people you know. They did not wait for circumstances to favor them. They did not rely on luck, on chance, or on external validation. They assumed the state they desire. They lived in the end. They felt the reality of their wish fulfilled. And as a result, the world rearranged itself to match their inner state. This is no coincidence. This is the law in action. This is what it means to be awake to the creative power within you. Now let me reveal to you the most profound secret of all. The secret that lies at the core of manifestation. Whatever you assume is true with feeling and persistence will harden into fact. It is as simple, as direct, and as uncompromising as that. Your imagination is God within you, expressing itself. Your feelings are the fuel of creation. Your assumptions are the blueprint that shapes reality. Nothing exists outside this principle. There is no luck, no chance, no external force stronger than your own consciousness. Tonight, I urge you to take this truth deeply into your heart. The power to create is in your hands, in your mind, in your feeling. Do not look to the world for permission. Do not seek evidence or proof. Close your eyes, enter your imagination, and experience your desire as already fulfilled. Feel it. Live it. Persist in it. Let your inner state dictate the form, and the universe will obey. Many are afraid of this power, as if creation is a delicate process that can easily be spoiled. But the law is faithful. Once impressed, the subconscious mind will work tirelessly to manifest your assumption. Your only task is to maintain alignment, to live without resistance, to act in harmony with the inner state you have assumed. The world will respond inevitably. The unseen is obedient. The law is unerring. Let us also remember the importance of faith in this final revelation. Faith is not mere hope or wishful thinking. It is the unwavering certainty that the unseen is real, that your desire exists now in consciousness, and that the outer world must reflect it. Persist in faith. Allow no doubt, no fear, no questioning to disturb your inner state. Faith, combined with feeling and imagination, is the unshakable foundation upon which all creation rests. And do not forget awareness, the master key. Be vigilant of your thoughts, your feelings, your assumptions. Observe when they align with your desire, and when they contradict it. Catch contradictions early. Replace limiting assumptions with empowered assumptions. Persist consciously, consistently, deliberately. Awareness ensures that the power of imagination and feeling is fully directed, fully effective, and fully realized. Now I want to speak to you about the joy of creation. Many view manifestation as a task, a struggle, a process that requires effort and toil. But when you awaken to the truth, it is effortless, it is natural, it is joyful. To assume the state of your desire, to live in the end, to impress your subconscious, To persist without resistance, that is not labor. It is delight. The world is obedient. Your mind is creative. The universe is responsive. You are free to imagine, free to feel, free to live fully in the reality you choose. Finally, remember this. There is no separation between you and the reality you desire. You are not distant from it. You are not waiting to receive it. It already exists in your consciousness. Your task is to recognize it, to feel it, to live it, and to allow it to manifest. Every obstacle, every delay, every seeming contradiction is an invitation to return to your inner state, to realign, to persist and to trust. The power has always been within you. It is here now. It is eternal. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I leave you with this final revelation. Your imagination is God within you. Your feelings are the fuel of creation, and your assumptions shape the world you experience. Live in the end. Persist with faith. Revise the past. Remove resistance. Be aware and align with the state of your fulfilled desire. The world will reflect your consciousness. There is nothing outside of you that can prevent this. The law is unerring. The universe is faithful, and your creation is inevitable. Go forth with this truth. Exercise it. Delight in it. Trust it. And watch with unwavering certainty as the world bends, shifts, and manifests in perfect obedience to your imagination. The final revelation is simple, yet profound. You are the creator. The world is your reflection. The law is faithful. Manifestation is inevitable.